Quote, "Wisdom seeks the truth of all things which are heard or uttered." Meaning of the quote. Wisdom seeks the truth of all things which are heard or uttered means that wisdom is an active pursuit of understanding. It implies that wisdom is not just about absorbing information or hearing words, it involves a conscious effort to discern the truth in everything we encounter, whether it's spoken by others, heard in the media, or even within ourselves. This idea emphasizes the importance of critical thinking and self-reflection. In a world overflowing with noise, opinions, and information, wisdom demands that we don't passively accept what's told to us but engage deeply with what is being communicated. This engagement is about questioning assumptions, exploring different perspectives, and striving for a deeper understanding of the world around us. The quote suggests that wisdom is not merely knowledge but an active process of seeking the truth, reflecting on what we hear, and using that reflection to guide our actions and decisions. Spiritual perspective. In many spiritual traditions, wisdom is regarded as the highest form of knowledge. It's a quality that goes beyond intellectual understanding and touches on a deeper awareness, often tied to a greater universal truth. Wisdom, in this sense, is the ability to perceive reality as it truly is, beyond appearances and ego-driven interpretations. For example, the idea of mindfulness in spiritual practices like meditation encourages practitioners to become aware of every moment, not just in terms of superficial events but in understanding the deeper patterns of life. This aligns closely with the quote, "To truly listen to the world, we need to go beyond the surface level of words and sensations." Spiritual wisdom often involves questioning everything we hear, be it from the outer world or from our inner dialogue. It's about realizing that everything that is spoken or heard is colored by our perceptions, beliefs, and past experiences. True wisdom is the ability to peel back these layers of perception and to see things as they are, without judgment, without bias. In this light, the quote encourages us to engage in a spiritual practice of discerning truth from illusion. It's about being aware of the intentions behind spoken words and the hidden truths that may lie beneath them. For example, someone may say something, but their tone or actions may reveal a different intention. Wisdom is about perceiving these subtle cues and seeking clarity. Scientific perspective. In science, truth-seeking is a foundational principle. The scientific method involves the continual testing of hypotheses, experimentation, observation, and the careful analysis of data. But more than just facts, science seeks to understand how those facts fit into larger patterns and theories that explain the natural world. When we hear a new claim or discovery in science, it's common for researchers to ask, what is the evidence behind this statement? What methods were used to derive this conclusion? Can this finding be reproduced? These are the same principles that align with the wisdom described in the quote, "Don't just take things at face value. Challenge, test, and seek to understand the truth beneath the surface." For example, in medical science, a new drug might be touted as a breakthrough. However, the scientific community doesn't just accept the claim without rigorous testing, trials, and peer review. It's only after repeated testing, verifying results, and thorough analysis that a conclusion is drawn about its effectiveness. Here, wisdom is similar. Before acting on new information, it is essential to dig deeper, check the facts, and ensure that the understanding is accurate. In a broader sense, science also embraces uncertainty, continually searching for deeper truths about the universe. Even widely accepted theories, such as the theory of evolution or the laws of physics, are continuously tested and refined as new evidence emerges. This illustrates how wisdom, like science, is an ongoing search for truth, constantly evolving as new insights come to light. Let's bring this wisdom to life through a short story. The story of the wise owl. In a vibrant forest, animals were buzzing with excitement and concern after hearing that an owl had announced an impending storm. The news spread like wildfire, with each animal preparing for what they assumed would be a dangerous and destructive event. But as the preparations continued, an old, wise owl who had flown over the forest the day before heard the panic and decided to intervene. She gathered the animals and said, "I did indeed see a shift in the weather, but I never claimed a storm was coming. I merely observed a change in the clouds and the wind. Just as the seasons change, sometimes the weather shifts, and we may feel an anticipation, but it does not mean disaster is inevitable." The rabbit, who had been the first to spread the news, felt embarrassed. "But you said the weather was changing, and I thought that meant a storm was coming," he admitted. The owl smiled gently and replied, "Change is constant in the world around us. It's essential to listen carefully to what is actually being said, to question our own assumptions, and to seek clarity. The world is full of noise, and often we misinterpret what we hear. To be wise is to not only hear but to truly listen and seek the truth beneath the surface." The owl's words were a powerful lesson for the animals, who realized that their fear had been based on assumptions, not facts. They learned that wisdom involves patience and critical thinking, always seeking deeper understanding rather than jumping to conclusions. How it applies to our everyday life. In everyday life, we are constantly bombarded with information from many sources: news, social media, friends, family, work colleagues, etc. Often, we hear things that are either exaggerated, incomplete, or influenced by bias. The quote encourages us to pause and ask, is this true? What's the context? What evidence supports this claim? Wisdom doesn't just accept things blindly but carefully examines them. In conversations, when we hear something from a friend or colleague, it's important to ask questions and seek understanding before forming opinions. Sometimes, words can be misinterpreted, or we may not have the full picture. For example, if someone tells us they are upset, instead of assuming we know why, it's wise to ask more questions, understand their feelings, and provide the support they truly need. In the media, in the digital age, information spreads fast. News articles, social media posts, and viral videos often paint a picture that is not entirely accurate. To apply wisdom, it's crucial to double-check the sources, verify the information, and question the narrative being presented. For instance, a headline may say, "Study shows coffee is bad for your health," but a deeper look into the study could reveal that the research is flawed or that the conclusion has been taken out of context. In decision-making, the quote also applies when we make decisions based on what we hear. We often make choices based on advice from others, societal expectations, or even fleeting impressions. Wisdom, however, calls for thorough reflection and understanding before taking action. It's about balancing the information we hear with our own experiences, values, and deeper knowledge. For instance, before investing in a new product, we might research its reviews, seek opinions from others, and consider its long-term impact, rather than rushing into a decision. In personal growth, finally, wisdom encourages us to listen to our inner voice, to question our own beliefs and assumptions. Sometimes, we hold on to misconceptions or false ideas about ourselves, our abilities, or the world around us. True wisdom involves challenging these inner narratives and seeking the deeper truth of who we are and how we relate to the world. By constantly seeking the truth in all things heard or uttered, whether from others or from within, we cultivate a more thoughtful, informed, and enlightened approach to life. Wisdom is not just about knowledge, but about using that knowledge to navigate the complexities of life with clarity and grace. Thank you for joining this exploration of wisdom. If this message resonated with you, like, share, and subscribe for more insights into timeless truths. Remember, every great journey begins with a single step, and every great idea begins with a strong foundation. See you in the next episode.